Got it. Okay. Yeah, it was a great opportunity to meet with some boosters and even our fan base, just bumping them in the concourse and doing those things. Again, I think all those things are great, and a chance to support Coach Self and his team. All those things are to me very important, and glad we're able to do it.
Is there any way that them going on a run like this can help you on recruiting? I know you've been on that grind still. Is there any way that can help out?
I think so. I think today and everything, it's I guess the question would be then, well, why hasn't it in the past? But at the same time, you still have a brand, you have excellence, you've shown winning and all those things that top athletes around the country in college basketball come to attend school in Lawrence, Kansas. So that component of the school, the community, and those things fit well. Those should be transferable for us in recruiting. And then we have to do our part as far as the football aspects and their fit into the program. But yeah, I believe that in all things, that any of our programs, our success of our women's basketball team can help us. Anything that shows our brand and the Jayhawks doing well, I think we can always find ways to utilize that in recruiting.
Hey, Lance, give me one thing about what's happened with fall camp that makes you encouraged about where you guys are at right now.
Spring ball, right? You're taking away my spring ball again, Jesse.
Well, I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what month it is, Lance. It's too busy with basketball. Sorry, man.
Neither. I'm sorry. One thing ask it again now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. One thing that makes you encouraged with spring ball, with where you guys are at right now, and makes you encouraged about the direction you're headed.
Watching our defense, I guess. And then what is that? Playing faster, playing more confident, communicating better. We still have a ways to go in the communication aspect, but I'm seeing them a lot more light years more confident than it were last fall.
And how does that show up in practice?
Like I said, they're playing aggressively, coming up with more confidence. We're attacking. Obviously, we've really 60% of the staff, I guess, is new, but watching it and the things kind of come together is now. I always get nervous when you're watching it. Is it showing deficiencies in other areas, whether it be offense or defense, if one side's playing really well? But I'm just watching even early in spring ball, just things that we weren't doing very well of confidently saying things and echoing calls and doing that. Our guys are doing that now, and we'll continue to build on those things. And I'll say a guy like Tywan Berryhill, the last 3-4 practices, I'm really watching him play faster, and he's a big, good athlete that you can really see how much he was hesitating in the past. So through the reps, through the understanding, through the weight room, everything, more confidence is starting to come along these guys as we move along.
Hey, Lance, early on you talked about Jalen. How's he looking, progressing from his injury, or what was slowing him down?
He's making progress. He's still done a lot of, very, very limited 11 on 11 reps right now. And that's more precautionary. He's doing all the drills, all the things, throwing skelly, doing things. So, again, watching him continue to grow as a leader, his confidence is another guy that continues to feel better about it, taking charge. He's done an excellent job in the offseason as one of our leaders. And again, building upon that.
You talked one room that's changed in the offseason was the running back room. What do you see from the competition there?
Well, and it's good we have depth, because it seems like every so often another guy's not quite available. But I really like the depth and the looks of that group. Kai Thomas is really kind of, feeling more comfortable in this system. You see him. Devin has been very consistent, working extremely hard. He's got a lot on his plate. Savannah Morrison has shown flashes of, yeah, I really like the way his feet turn over and do some things. He's been slowed a little bit, nothing major. But again, he's shown abilities to make big things happen. Daniel Highshaw was slowed again for him, but in the little bit, he's going to give us a back that isn't afraid to fight for, run someone over for the extra yard, a little bit more of a power guy once he gets, at that second level if we need to. And I like that. So I really like the matchup, the mixing and matching of things. And, it's going to be exciting to watch that position.
I know you guys have had a couple scrimmages. Anything you've taken from that, or some of the head-to-head battles in that?
Yeah, I kind of alluded to our defense and stuff. I mean, are you talking holistically, John?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Again, defensively, again, we got to be better against the run and doing things. Very pleased with the job of the front four, of what we're doing up front. I think they've really adapted to the two new coaches working with them. I think those guys have done a nice job. So that's been nice. Our younger offensive linemen, we still in that second unit plus, we're still searching for some consistency there. That's an area of improvement and that we've got to get. Receiver wise, Lawrence Arnold continues to show that he can make some plays. Stephen McBride has flashed a little bit, and Luke Graham, Trevor Wilson, but Tanaka Scott's a young guy that I think towards the end of August next year, if he keeps to continue to work hard, nice tall receiver who runs well, extremely athletic. I'm looking for him to be able to help our football team.
Yeah, and then I know you guys have had several guys up for recruiting and everything. Just what have you seen? How's it all been received? And just what's your perception on meeting with the recruits and everything?
Yeah, it's early for some. They're just getting out to some of these spring practices, but I think we've been able really appreciate those young men that have come and the people in their program or in their corner for them to come take a look at us. I don't know what it's been like in the past, but our numbers have been very solid. We continue to have multiple visitors, not just on a junior day, so to speak, but other days. And I think people have taken notice that things are changing here, and there's some good things to come check out. And obviously, we know we got to continue to work hard at recruiting, and especially here locally, as these guys can come multiple times, and we've been able to do different things that they've seen holistically, not just our program, but our university.
Hey, Lance, I wanted to build off, maybe it might be a little different than Jesse's question, but kind of at this point in spring practice, has anything surprised you with what you've seen from your guys so far?
Surprised me. No, if it's been, I guess, pleasantly surprised is watching guys that are growing and maturing in many ways of what we're asking them to do. As I throw out a couple names, would be Romello Dotson at corner, really trying to do a lot of things and taking a step out of maybe, things that he wasn't always comfortable and being vocal. OJ Burrows is another one, is put on about 10 pounds. We've had some guys that are a little bit lighter in the back half of the secondary, and we got to get some things there. And they've really embraced what Sleeve has done in the weight room, and they're getting better all the time. I like that. I think holistically we'll have some better depth at that linebacker position that we were hoping for with some of the additions, and then the growth of the guys that were there. And not only helping us defensively for 4 quarters, but that'll help us in special teams as well.
And you mentioned defense to Jesse's question earlier. How have you seen some of those new transfers kind of integrate themselves in the defense, whether it be, Lonnie Phelps, Gilliard, any one of those guys?
Yeah, Lonnie's done a really good job. He's got, he continues to work hard to learn things, but he has shown the things that we anticipated him having, some good initial quickness. He's very good pass rusher, understanding thing. He's just trying to get the feel of all the drills and what the terminology is to be more consistent. But we like what he's bringing to that position, as well as what Malcolm Lee was there, and Jeremy Robinson, Hayden Hatcher's coming off injury. So, we've got a lot of guys working there. Eric Gilliard, again, that's one of those guys that, as I just was talking about, those linebackers, that kind of fits that profile, is that he's going to help that position, as he competes for starting time, but he's gonna rotate. If he doesn't start, he's going to be, we're looking for that physical linebacker that definitely within the box, and he brings that, steps up and takes things on, works really hard, doesn't say much. Really enjoy having him in the program. Craig Young, big, long body with really great athleticism and speed. And again, I thought he came back off spring break and had some of his best practices and working hard again, starting to feel more comfortable in every day in our program on the field. And can't wait for all these guys to, Kalen Gervin's another one on defense, very steady in what he does. He's excellent. He can stay down low in his back pedal and things, and versus he can run well, with his hips down. He's going to help us as well. And looking forward to this last couple, 5 more practices, and then, the 27 before we play a game. I really look, for this group to continue to take big strides.
Lance, have you guys considered, I know things are still fluid with guys hitting the transfer portal still every day. Is there any consideration about still adding people at this point?
Yeah, that's a definite possibility. Yes.
Okay. And then when you look at I think about this because you talk about some of the fluidity in the trenches and on both sides of the line. How many of those positions do you really want to have a pretty good idea of who the guy is going into the fall?
I don't know. I think right now on paper, you guys would probably see it as well. We have 8 seniors listed, I believe. Something like 8. I mean, we're still a pretty young football team. And so when you say solidify, yeah, you like to have a good idea where it's heading, but I've always believed in the competition factor and the fact that nothing will be set in stone, until we really break camp. I mean, you want to have an idea that you have. It's not so much who's going to be out there, it's how many. So I guess in the defensive line, you're going to rotate 8 to 10 guys in a game, probably 4. Right now where we are at defensive tackle, we could play 5 to 6 like we did last year. And then we got to have at least 4 ends because we're going to rotate there. So that's, that will take care of itself. It's, for us offensively, you want to make sure you've got a solid 5. And then, we're continuing to look at, who's like the lineman, whether it be 6, 7, and 8. Is there going to be an inside guy that can snap? Is there a swing guy that maybe is a guard tackler or a guard center? And where those things are as we go, as we try to build depth to get ourselves into a 2 deep in the offensive line. That's probably what I was referring to. We'll always rotate at tight end and receiver. And we've talked enough about the backfield. So that's probably the one position. But one thing to keep in mind, I guess, guys, is, I don't know what spring ball is. Daniel, I'll ask you, is this the earliest spring balls ever started here in a long time?
Long time.
So, okay, you start earlier. That means you lost some weight room time of heavy lifting, part of that thing. And we know that, but now we'll get them back in to start building some of those things as we head into the summer program. And I don't want to start saying it's all solidified, because some of these younger players that haven't been in college that long still have a high, have a lot of potential to keep getting stronger and gaining, with strength. All of a sudden they become more confident on the field. When they watch more film, the game can also slow down for them. So when they come through these 15 practices finally in this offense in the spring or defense, we hope to build on that as we work through the summer and of course through August.
I wanted to take the chance to ask you about Caleb Sampson. We saw him on crutches today. What's your update on him?
Yeah, he'll be out for the rest of the spring. It was a decision that we had. He's had a kind of a nagging situation, we decided to get it taken care of. And Caleb's played a lot of football, and I tell you what, he's a tough son of a gun, and he's done everything we've asked, and he never says really a word about it, and finds a way through it. But we felt for him to have a chance to have a really good summer and make the most of it. So we got him as many practices as we could, and then we just decided to shut it down and get it taken care of.
And then one other guy we saw sitting out today was Morrison. Everything going okay with him? He was just on the bike.
Yeah, I just, he tweaked something again and again, some of those. And sometimes, that's the tough thing and the balancing thing that we've got to continue to look at. And the players have to understand sometimes taking that week off. And then we've done some things coming back, but you can get some minor things out of it. But I don't know if he'll be back for Thursday, but I think we'll get him back out there yet before we wrap this thing up.
And if I could just ask one more too, Panagos the other day was talking about how the changes in offense have kind of allowed you guys. I know you mentioned the move between him and Taiwo splitting up the ends and tackles, and it was unique for him certainly to do that for the first time in his coaching career. But he said the evolutions in the offensive side of the game over the past 10, 15 years, you're not just running power anymore, has allowed that to be a necessity. How much do you think those guys have now appreciate that, working with that a couple weeks in, and how much do you see that getting to the point where you want it to be with that group?
Yeah, very good question. The one thing part of the coach party to think about that is how the game's evolved, right? You see defensive ends standing up at times and they're playing the RPOs and things like that. Well, that's a lot different than putting your hand in the ground and doing other things. So how are you going to drill that yet while you got all these D tackles over here doing these other things, what they need to do? So it allows us to do some other things that way. And I think that's what Jim is alluding to. The other part is a lot of times in practice or in meeting time, I should say, is that, you only have so much time given in our position meetings. Well, if you're watching only 2 guys and the coach is talking about it versus 4 guys, you're only going to get probably half as many plays watched. And as much as, I wasn't going to, I really struggled with that during the fall in my own mind, what I was used to, because we did that in Buffalo with 2. We split it up, and it really was a thing when we started to turn the corner when we did it, when that rule came in 18. So I like it. I think our guys will like it. Again, that'll be part of our end of the year evaluation. And we talked to some of those guys right now, the little bit of just in passing, they seem to embrace the change and both coaches, they feel like they're being coached and getting better and doing things. That doesn't mean someone else isn't a good coach, but that's what our guys see, that these guys care about them. And as long as progression's made and you can get more things done with those smaller groups, I hope to continue to see that, but that whole defensive line as a whole get better.
Hey, Lance, I wanted to ask about special teams, how they look, punting, kicking, and I know you got to have some depth to do it.
Yeah, I like the depth of our specialists and things. We had hope today. I don't know. It's warm in the office. I don't know how warm it got outside, but we had some faculty members and some boosters at practice. So I wasn't quite ready to send everybody outside today. I probably should have. But we just haven't been outside to really say, oh, wow, and we've always kind of taken more of a special teams approach of, we're going to get it all implemented, do a lot of drill work. There's only, in some of the teams, there's only so much you can really do. It's much like a lot of ways of practicing these days, John, is you're not going to sit there and cause a bunch of collisions, so it's a lot of fundamentals and understanding and teaching that way. But, I think our guys have embraced it. The way we're breaking up and having a different lead coach, I think is something that we have done in the past and didn't do last year. I thought we did a very solid job in special teams last year, but I think especially being a morning practice team, I think it's good sometimes to hear different voices to start the day as well. And I like where that'll take us to.
Lance, you mentioned how many spring practices were left. I guess until the spring game. Like, do you have a main goal you want to accomplish with that spring game? Is it more interacting with the community, having that chance to build that relationship further? Is it on the field? Like, where is that with you?
Yeah, you got to try to do a lot of them. You try and do both, honestly. I mean, we want to try to make it a good day to come out and see our guys and know that. But you talk to a lot of coaches these days. You need every practice, like we need every practice right now, as we said, for our first spring ball. So it'll be a combination practice, scrimmage type setting with game-like situations, of course. But we still got to continue to do that. So there has to be a day of development. You know, we've toyed around with things in the past where you know, we actually practiced another day after the spring game to kind of clean some things up and really go back to the teaching mode. We're not quite there yet this year on this, but I think, you know, we have to take advantage of the day. Now, one way to challenge our guys with this is, okay, now there's fans, there's distractions, there's other things with focus. Okay, it's not going to be a huge crowd, but it'll be a crowd. So how do you perform in front of people? Where's your focus? How do you go about your way? So all those things are things that we continue to work with our guys, and we'll talk about it as we approach April 9th.
All right, thanks, everyone.
So everyone, sorry about the making you wait and the technical difficulties, guys. Don't know who's all traveling, but have safe travels, and hopefully maybe I'll even see you in New Orleans.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Lance.
Thanks, Lance.